Right now, this exact second, somewhere in the world, someone is winning an argument against their boss. In the shower, wearing zero clothes and radiating the confidence of a war general. And the boss has no idea. Is probably eating lunch. We'll never know they just lost. If that's you, first of all, incredible comeback, I'm sure. Second of all, you're not crazy. You've just met one of the most bizarre, most researched habits of the human brain. And today, we're going to figure out why your head keeps producing content for a show nobody's watching. Let's get into it. But first, subscribe, because clearly your brain needs supervision, and I've appointed myself. Psychologists call this imaginary interaction, a term coined by researcher James Honeycutt, who apparently looked at millions of people mentally yelling at their exes and thought, this deserves a PhD. His research found this isn't random static, it's functional. Your brain uses these fake conversations to plan, vent, and replay, basically running a full production studio in your skull, minus the budget, minus the audience, and minus anyone ever finding out. Here's the twist, though. This isn't a glitch. It's a feature that stuck around because it worked. Early humans who could mentally rehearse, if I say this to the tribe leader, he might throw a rock at me, survived longer than the ones who just walked up and improvised. So the guy who mentally rehearsed his diplomacy speech before approaching an angry mammoth probably lived. The guy who just winged it? Cave painting. That's it. That's the whole legacy.
So, congratulations. Every time you rehearse telling your landlord the heater's broken, you're channeling several 100,000 years of ancestors who survived by overthinking. It's basically the family business. There isn't just one reason for this. There are three. And your brain runs all of them like an unpaid intern juggling 3 internships at once. Rehearsal. The flight simulator nobody asked for. Pilots train in simulators before flying real planes because crashing at 30,000 feet is generally considered bad for reviews. Your brain does the exact same thing before a scary conversation. It runs the scene in advance. Multiple versions, multiple disasters, so that when it actually happens, you're not improvising like a man who just woke up mid-sentence. Researchers call this anticipatory rehearsal, and it genuinely lowers anxiety before high-stakes talks.
Translation? Your brain is doing unpaid consulting work for a meeting that hasn't even been scheduled yet. Incredible work ethic, honestly. Emotional replay. Refreshing a page that will never load. You know that argument from 2 years ago that you still win sometimes at 2 a.m., alone, in bed, for no reason? That's your brain trying to close what psychologists call unfinished emotional business. If a moment left you feeling small or blindsided, your brain treats it like a browser tab it refuses to close. It just keeps hitting refresh, hoping this time the ending's different. Spoiler, the page never loads. But your brain, bless it, tries again tomorrow night. Same time, same tab. Identity rehearsal. Practicing being a person. This one's genuinely wild. Every time you imagine standing up to a bully, comforting a friend, or giving a wedding toast that somehow ends in applause, you're building what psychologists call a self-schema. Basically, a mental resume of who I am under pressure. So, imagining yourself being brave is one of the actual ways your brain trains you to become braver. Which means every time you deliver a flawless imaginary toast in the shower? That's not narcissism, that's cognitive training. You're basically doing reps, spiritual reps, for a wedding that isn't happening. Every brain has a genre. Let's see which album you're releasing. Track 1. The Revenge Rewrite. Someone insults you. You freeze like a Windows 95 computer. Then 2 hours later, in the shower, you deliver a comeback so devastating it could end empires. To a bar of soap. Track 2. The interview you weren't invited to. You mentally nail "tell me about yourself" for a job you haven't applied for, at a company that has never heard your name, for a position that may not exist. Track 3. The breakup speech for a relationship that never started. You've broken up, cleanly, maturely, with closure, with someone who has never technically spoken to you. Here's the actually interesting part. Research shows this spikes hardest during low attention tasks, showering, walking, folding laundry, because idle hands apparently hand your brain the studio keys. Which explains why your single greatest speech of all time was delivered mid-shampoo, to nobody, with your eyes closed because of the soap.
Like everything your brain does at 2 a.m., this is healthy in one direction and concerning in the other. Healthy? It helps you prep, process, or survive a boring bus ride. Worth noticing? When the fake version starts replacing the real one. When you keep rehearsing the honest conversation, but never actually have it. That's when the simulator quietly turns into a substitute, and the flight never actually takes off. The rehearsal only counts if you eventually get on the real stage. So, next time you catch yourself mid-argument with someone who isn't there, isn't listening, and will never know, relax. You're not broken. You're running an ancient survival tool, an emotional cleanup crew, and a confidence gym, all at once, for free, using nothing but a shower and unresolved rage. If this explains something you always thought was just your weird thing, subscribe and comment your most unhinged imaginary conversation. I want the worst ones. See you in the next one.